exactly. I told you, I swear to God, Alex. And then I walked there, as a normal guy, and then we stand up, she stand up, and in this moment, she loses her trousers.
Oh,
I swear to God, she loses her trousers, and I say, opla, opla,
Hey guys, Alex Rich.
Ben Corimba.
Hey, we are excited to let you know that we have episodes of our podcast, Jews in the Lou, dropping every other week, and you're not going to want to miss. We have some great guests lined up.
Amazing. And while I have you, I want to thank the St. Louis Jewish Light for their incredible partnership and support of our podcast. St. Louis Jewish Light doing amazing work for our community, keeping us informed with stories, with updates.
And visit stlJewishLight.org. Subscribe to their newsletter. They'll keep you up to date on everything going on.
Absolutely. Well, see you soon.
Thank you.
You give off a very great vibe of like, you know what I mean? Is that what you said the first time you met him?
no, because
We're rolling, aren't we? We're perfect.
when I met Luigi, we first worked together in 2022.
Okay.
And Luigi had a very different vibe going then. And looked very differently. And so much so that when he came back and I was showing photos, people were like, that's not Luigi.
Really? How do we like this version of Luigi? We like this?
Love it.
Yeah. What's new? The hair is new. The glasses are new.
Weight. I lost a lot of weight.
Did you really?
Yeah. And I do the best with my body,
Yeah. Oh, totally. So Luigi Toscano,
Yes, sir.
right? And Dee Dee Simon, you guys, I appreciate you coming in because where are you originally from?
Okay. Originally, I was born in Germany.
Okay.
My parents are Italian, the typical guest workers. They came in the 60s to Germany for work. And so I was born together with 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming to St. Louis. And we'll get like into your background because obviously you have a lot of interesting backstories that have gotten you to where you're at today. And then Dee Dee, who knew we had a common connection as well?
Small St. Louis, right?
I know. And you are, what is your position with the Holocaust Museum, correct?
So no, I am not with the Holocaust Museum per se, but I
Okay.
do chair the State Commission for Holocaust
Okay.
Education. And then my husband and I, we have our own nonprofit, Conversation Builds Character.
Okay.
And it's in that capacity that I work with Luigi.
Awesome. And you're in town. And what is that? What is Conversation Builds Character? What is the backstory of that?
The backstory of that is it comes from my background, growing up in South St. Louis, being a German Catholic and never learning about the Holocaust. And it was when the kids were in middle school, we went to the Holocaust Museum, and that was the first time that I had heard about it. And that was a life-changing experience for me. And so as time went on, it was just something that was placed on my heart to teach Holocaust education. And I started it with Conversation Builds Character and then got the platform to work with the State Commission. And so once I was appointed, it's a gubernatorial appointment. And once I was appointed, we were kind of doing the same thing. Both of us were working with teachers.
Right.
So my husband and I, we changed Conversation Builds Character to still continue to teach the Holocaust, but in a larger format,
Sure.
such as Lest We Forget. And we like to partner with other organizations to help spread our message. So took it out of the classroom and put it into the streets, basically.
Sure. So that everybody, I mean, it's important for everybody to know about it. And Luigi, how did you kind of talk about your background a little bit, and then we'll get to the Lest We Forget, because I know that's an exhibit that you've, put a lot into that you feel very strongly about. Obviously, there's a lot of great background to that, but take us back in time. You said you grew up in Germany, but your passion for art and photography. Who is Luigi?
Okay, first of all, I'm a normal guy, I'm not from another planet or something like that, And, I discovered the photography nearly 25 years ago or longer because I buy a camera, and I was thinking, okay, I saw this camera. I mean that I can take pictures, So it is, when you hear piano music and you thinking, you can play also piano,
Totally.
and that is the same that me when I saw the camera,
Right.
so I buy it, and I in that time we use analog cameras, and I put a film inside, and then I took these pictures, and then I bring back the film to develop. And I was completely convinced that I'm a best photographer in the world,
Yeah.
So, and then after 2 days, the development from the film came back, and then I saw everything was black, It was nothing good,
Right.
So I was so frustrated that I would like to bring back the camera, And the dealer said to me, no, it's not possible because that was a sale, that was an offer, You cannot bring back the camera. So I
Right.
was so frustrated that I saw a course of a public school in Mannheim. And and I write in, and I learned together with 4 older women and 2 students the basic of the photography, And so at that time, I do my way as a photographer,
Yeah.
So, and then I, that when you have you have some, you're trying out to take pictures so and so and so, and then I show this picture my friend where I clean the windows, and that time I was a window cleaner,
Right.
and he saw this pictures and said, "Wow, Luigi, let us do an exhibition for you." And I say, "Come on, I'm I'm a greenhorn, I'm
Right.
nobody,
Right.
And no, come on, we try it. So we made it, on this day the house was completely full, and from that time I start my career as a photographer.
Yeah. And that was your very first exhibit right there. Where you're at now. So now we'll talk about your exhibit that's coming here to St. Louis, the Lest We Forget, how you even got involved with that. But I guess start there where what was the backstory to that? Because it's Holocaust remembrance, looking at survivors and telling those stories. Talk about that a little bit.
And
give us the dates too.
Yeah.
The whole, tell us when it's when, where, and what it's all about.
Okay. Nearly 10 years ago, I our political situation in Germany was not good. It was the starting that the right wings party are coming, and hate speech it's coming louder, and anti-Semitic attacks comes louder, and so on and so on. And I decide to do something against this, But I'm thinking, what can I do? I'm not a person who are organized in a political things, or I'm a, I do my work by myself. I'm not really, so, and I decide to do that what I can do, and that was the take pictures, and then on this way, it's coming my idea to put pictures from Holocaust survivors and to bring it in the public space, because I would like that the people see what happened when we follow the right way, So, and I was a little bit naive with this idea, but I start to write my concept and everything, and I sent it in different institutions, and I receive no response about that, So a little bit later, the first door was opened from the United States Holocaust Museum in Washington.
Sure.
They read my idea and they said, "Wow, fantastic!" And they offer me to take pictures from Holocaust survivors in Washington D.C.
Wow,
So
okay.
I travel from Germany to Washington, and I take pictures there. And then you must know, with my first picture, I run behind my project, because everybody was see what powerful picture that are, and what powerful message that could be gone, and then I show my first exhibition with these pictures in the public space. That is a trick, that you bring these pictures not in a museum or in a gallery, but nobody come,
Right. Right.
But if you go in the public space, everybody can see it,
Right. Right.
And that is a trick, Also, I do that in Washington, D.C. on the reflecting pool, on the both side on the reflecting pool. And you see how big are these pictures.
Right. Right.
So You can imagine. And the trick is, I select the date during the Cherry Blossom Festival, and you know how many people
the
are
cherry
coming,
blossoms,
you
yeah.
know. And it was amazing, because over 200 or 300,000 people came in 2 weeks
Right.
there. So, and many people in the world see this exhibition.
But you're also saying with that, like putting it in public, you get a lot of people that just stumble upon your art, stumble upon your photos, and it's an opportunity where, as opposed to being in museums and being in different
Absolutely.
places, like people are going out of their way to go to those museums. This, for you, is a way to tell the story to
For
everybody.
example, I showed this exhibition in Boston, in
Mhm.
Boston Common Park, and that was the way for many people to go to work, I received so many emails because they write me, "Hey Luigi, on this morning I was on the way on my
Right,
work, and
right.
I stopped on the exhibition," and that is what I mean when I show these pictures in the public space.
Yeah.
In the first, when you see the picture, you have no idea what it is,
Right.
because you see only the pictures of older people and their face, and then you realize, because you can read a little plate there,
Right.
what is the name from the person and what happened with this person,
So the art, the photography is Holocaust survivors, all Holocaust survivors,
yeah.
right? And do you come from a Jewish background?
No.
So that's the other thing I want to get into, as far as it helps people understand the Holocaust wasn't just Jews.
No, it was. You have right. The biggest group was the victims of Jews, or Jews victim,
Yep.
And there are many other groups who was victim. There was the Sinti and Romas, there was the forced labor, the political, the homosexuals, and also the euthanasia victims, And I picked up everybody. I take pictures from everybody of these groups, But the biggest group are the Jewish survivor, and because they have many levels, the Holocaust, not only the Jewish,
Sure.
But again, I will respect that to say, because the Jew group was the biggest group.
Sure.
If you are Jew, you was dead on that time,
Right.
So, and that is why I decided to do this project on this way, to make every group of the victims in my project, so that the people can see how big is the story of the Holocaust,
Sure. So when you capture the art, when you capture the photography of the people that you're working with, what goes into your mind? Do you sit and hear their story, and then that gives you a little bit of guidance as far as the direction you want to see your photos go with them? Or talk about that process a little bit.
You must know, I don't run in, I make a picture and then I run out, I spend sometimes hours
Sure.
together with these people,
Right.
because they have they tell me, first of all, her story, but how can I say, it is the same when you visit your grandmother and when your grandpa,
Mhm.
that situation. You come in, you going in the living room, the grandma offer you cakes and coffee,
Right.
and you have a beautiful conversation, and how are you? And then they start to talk
Sure.
about the Holocaust, and in this moment, it is a quiet situation in this room, and you listen.
Mhm.
You listen. And sometimes it's really hard to listen, because you can imagine the stories are really hard, really, really hard. I don't know how many times during the last 10 years I start to cry, because it is true, it's not a fake or something like that,
Mhm.
And, sometimes I have to, to stand up and run away because it's so hard, I
Mhm.
remember one story when I was in Chicago at the Holocaust Center there. George came in, he came in a glass room. I was sitting here on my chair, and he came, he stepped in the door, and from far away he said, "Hey, hi Luigi, nice to meet you." And it's so great, older people,
Right.
and it is a beautiful project. And he saw my tattoos, and he said to me, "Hey Luigi, you have beautiful tattoos." And sometimes I'm really concentrate to do not a mistake or something like that. And I have in my mind to ask him, have you a tattoo?
Right.
Of course he had, his
Right.
number,
Right. Right.
And he came before I speak out that he came before and said, Luigi, I have also a tattoo, but not so beautiful than your tattoo,
Wow.
And he showed me his number, And on this moment, I know that during my conversation with him, it's coming a big surprise for me,
Sure.
And we talk about, we spent 20 minutes. And then he said, Luigi, you know what? I was the guy with other guys who built the crematorium in Auschwitz. In this crematorium, all my relevance was burned there,
Wow.
And that is what I mean. I would like to stand up and run away.
Right. Right.
But it's not unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
And you see this beautiful man in front of you, and he is willing to tell his story to me, a foreigner, a photographer. He don't know me,
Right.
And he is feeling that what I do is the right way, what I will do, to show his face on the public space,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody can see where he come from and what they means if you select a right-wing party,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
is the easy way.
Right. Right. So when you hear the stories that Luigi's told over the years, what sticks out to you as far as how he's able to capture the images that he's able to capture?
So in 22, when Luigi came here, we were able to photograph 12 Holocaust survivors from the St. Louis area.
Wow.
And I was fortunate to go with Luigi.
Which is a lot in one
It's a
area,
lot.
correct?
It was a lot. We shot for 3 days, and we would go into their homes, and it's exactly what Luigi said. They're sort of, hello, thank you, welcome, come on in. And then Luigi has this knack of speaking in multiple languages, and he would say something maybe in a language that they speak. And Alex, I'm not kidding you. Their eyes just light up and they get this big smile. And then they start, I have goosebumps just
Right.
thinking back on it. They start this conversation and it just changes everything. And he truly looks at them as a human being. There is a human behind that story, and he truly respects them. And that's what I took away when I got to go with him. Was just the rapport that he can build with these survivors.
Yeah.
And, it's a vulnerable place for these survivors to share their story with Luigi.
Right. And Go
And
ahead,
sorry,
yeah.
Alex, you must know, for example, my intention is not to coming as an artist to these people or coming to a famous guy to these people.
Right.
I told them I am a normal guy, I'm not interesting about fame or something like that. I do that because it is my intention to do something against this, what happened in the world,
Mhm.
And and when I step in this room, I try to do my best what I can, Sometimes it's not easy
Sure.
because sometimes there are different people, there are
Mhm.
sometimes there are traumatized and but I try to do really my best, I'm really friendly to them and sometimes I joking with them also, and and I spend really hours. You cannot imagine how many cake I eat in the last 10 years.
You look great for all the
Yeah,
kids.
no, but you had to see me
That's what
2
you're
or
saying.
3
He's changed. He's
3
less
years
cake
before,
than he is. He's eating like gluten-free cake now, right?
And sometimes it's and also I was fortunate, Alex, that, for example, especially in the east part of the world, in Belarus or in Poland or Ukraine or in Russia, the people cannot speak and open about her past, because it was forbidden.
Sure.
It was really forbidden to talk about it, And sometimes I came in situation that she or her or him decide to speak out for the first time, And you can imagine sometimes we are sitting with 20 people in a room,
Sure.
and and Grandma Maria is talking for the first time, you know, and you can imagine how
telling stories that her family has not even
you
heard.
know, and you can cut off the air inside, you know, because it is so emotional, so powerful emotional, you know. So yeah.
How do you think your own personal background allows you to sit in the, because candidly, I think like I'm a person where I think, you know, if you're sitting in the room and somebody's putting something heavy on you, there's certain people that have a really great reaction and they're really nurturing and they're able to really handle that situation. I don't think I'm necessarily one of those people that is knows, you know, what to do overly in that situation. But how do you, because you're almost like a therapist, right? Where these people are talking to you about the deepest, darkest things that have ever happened in their entire lives, and they're doing it in front of their family. How do you feel like that is like, how do you feel like your own background has put you in a position to be able to handle that type of,
you know, in the beginning I was really naive, you know, because I'm thinking I take only pictures and that's it, you know. But to sitting there to listen their stories, I became sick, you know, because I lose my hearing, you know, and I have other problems with me, you know. So I realized that I need also a little bit help, you know, because I remember I was alone in a hotel in Moscow in Russia. And on this evening, I broke, you know, I was, you know, and I call my best friend. I say, hey, I'm helpless, you know, can you help me? You know, I cannot hearing anymore. And on this time, I was searching for help, you know. So I came back to Germany and I go to the doctors and I find a therapist that he helps me to coming back on my foot, you know. And then I realized, okay, Luigi, it's necessary that you speak also out what happened, you know, because I was, you know, especially when it's coming in the night, you know, the dreams are coming back, you know, for the day, you know, and that was my horror about that, you know, because I don't had find a tool to let them go, you know, to let my bad dreams, you know, or nightmares, you know. So I find a way with together with a therapist to work with this, you know. So at that point, my health is going better and better, you know. And you know, Alex, it's also necessary that you have fun on this conversation, you know?
right?
Because you can, you know, it is hard enough that you spoke only about the Holocaust, you know, but you have also normal situations, you know, and that can break the ice also. For example, I don't know if I told you this story when I was invited in Paris, you know, it was a really rich Holocaust survivor, really, really big, rich, you know, and they have a big, that was not a house, that was a castle, you know, and I see this only in the TVs, you know, so, and the housewife is coming and open and said to me, Luigi, s'il vous plaît, in French, sit down in the saloon, you know, you like a tea or coffee, you know, and they bring me, you know, with the, it was really, I was really impressed about that, you know. You know, I saw the first time a Picasso on the wall, you know, and I cannot stop to take pictures of this Picasso, you know, and you can imagine, you know, and so, and then the housewife came to me, or what do you say, housewife or housekeeping, or what is the lady who served the maid,
yeah.
So, and she's coming every 2 minutes. Oh, another 5 minutes. She's preparing, you know, and I say, I have time, no worries, you know. And then she told me, Luigi, now she's ready. Come on, and you can. And then they opened this big doors, you know, and it was a really big table, you know, and she was really not a big person. She was
at the end of it,
yeah,
just like in the movies.
And yeah, exactly. I told you. I swear to God, Alex. And then I walked there, you know, as a normal guy, you know, and then we stand up. She stand up, you know, and in this moment she loses her trousers.
Oh no!
I swear to God, she lose her trousers, you know, and I say, "Opla, opla," you know, and you know,
You can't make that up.
and
You
that broke
cannot.
the ice. That broke the ice.
Yeah.
You know, everything around
Oh
me,
my
all
God.
the rich, everything was
Gone.
gone. You know.
Yes, yes.
And she loves me for that, you
Yes.
know. But she started to smiling, and we spent 4 hours together, and we had, you know, we was so. I mean, it was a really personal situation for her
Yeah.
because I saw her everything, you
Sure.
A
know.
little bit.
It got more personal
You know,
for her.
and in that moment it was so funny, you know, and
Sure.
I don't know who helps me in this situation, because you can imagine when you are impressed, you know, you oh my God,
Kinda
you
get
know,
timid,
you
yeah.
know, and then that liberate me for everything,
Yeah.
you know. And then we had I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I eat the best meal in Paris ever in my life,
Yeah.
you know, and so on and so on, you know. And that is what I mean, Alex, that it is important to be normal, you know,
Sure.
to be normal. There is nothing special. I mean, they are really happy when somebody came and they are interested about her story, you
Right.
know, because, you know, it is so bad what for experience that they have, and it is so bad what they when they turn off the TV to see in the news what happened in the world, you know.
Mhm.
The anti-Semitic is coming, all the hate speech is coming again, and so on, you know, and they are angry about that, you know. And you know, I remember one of the first survivor, she came from Charlotte, North Carolina. She told me, "Luigi, please, if you met people, say to them, if we forget the past, we are doomed to repeat it," you know. So, and you see what's going on, you know.
Sure.
And I think that we do the same wrong and we accept another thing, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Is that where the lest you forget? That's where the back story of the name comes from.
yeah, that is what, you know. I was, you know, Alex, that is what I mean, what I told you in the beginning. You know, I have to do something against this, not only to speak about it.
Yeah.
You know, you can speak with your friends, you can
Sure.
speak there, you can speak there, you can be angry, but you can open a discussion. But the important is to do something, you know. So I decide to do against this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that brings up a good point, and not to bring this back, you know, to the Jews in the Lou like podcast of what we do, but I think that's a big reason why Ben and I put this together was because of, you know, the return of anti-Semitism for whatever reason that may be. I think no matter what you're doing, whether you're telling a story of something that happened to you or just spreading awareness, which is realistically what we're doing here, is showcasing different Jewish individuals in St. Louis or different stories that affect Jewish individuals. And like you said, a large group here in St. Louis. So I think that, like, again, it is just so crazy that is something that's returning. And it's not something where people are just saying, oh, well, the Holocaust was in Germany. Like, that's a Germany focused thing. People forget that, like, hate and anti-Semitism is all over the world right now. And it's, this is important what you're doing. This is important telling these stories, and you're showing that, you know, because I think that Jewish people a lot of the time feel like people outside of Jewish people don't really have their back as much as people, you know, should at times. But I think, yes, the Holocaust affected a lot of non-Jewish people, but you yourself said that this is an important thing for people with Jewish backgrounds need to understand and need to share these stories. So I think what you're doing is incredible.
Thank you.
What I wanted to go back because we'll get to the direction of where things are going today. But you talk about you've walked into like a lot of big places, a lot of cool places. Is there a place that sticks out to you as, because you seem to be a very well-traveled person? Is there a place that sticks out to you that you really remember or really made a big impact in your life?
There are so many, Alex, you can imagine that. But, you must know that I take pictures over 600 person around the world, and you can imagine that all these people have a place in my heart, and it is not possible to stay in touch with everybody because you have not so time,
Sure.
But there are, two handful of people that are really deep, and one of these people are Anna. I met her 10 years ago the first time when I was in the Ukraine, and she told me her story. She was 1.5 years old. She came to Auschwitz, to the concentration camp in Auschwitz. And you can imagine, you must thinking that she was 1.5 years old and the Nazis give her a number here, they tattoo a number, and how painful is that, So in this moment, she lose everything, mother, father, everything. And she was so fortunate to survive this, because if you are a child and you came to the concentration camp, your possibility to survive was not high, So, but she was fortunate, and she was liberated and she was adopted in a Ukrainian family, and she spent her rest of her life in the Ukraine, and but she was searching all his life about her, where she come from, She don't know about her real name. She don't know about her if she have sisters or brothers. How is the name of her father or mother? And so 2.5 years before the war in the Ukraine broke out, I decided to find out where is Anna, and I made a documentary film about her, Blood Sugar, Red Blood, and I find it. I find out where is Anna come from. I find out her real name. I found out she had where she was born. I find out everything.
And Luigi, when you went to Auschwitz, didn't they tell you, Luigi, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. You're not going to find her number.
So these were things that she was not even able to ever find.
Because you must know, she was tattooed,
Sure.
And when she was adopted, the parents, the adopted parents, they remove her number. Normally, the number is one of the best way to find something about this person,
Wow.
And she was part in a propaganda film from the Soviet Union, So, and the speaker in the film says a number, and this number was not correct. We find out. You must know, I work together with a great team, with historian and so on, and they help me to find a way to find out who's Anna, and one of the best way is when you have the number, you can go in the archive, you can follow this ways, but the number, she removed the number, and
that makes it more difficult for sure.
And the only what we have was the snipple in the TV that that the speaker says 69129, and that was completely not correct, this number, we find out that was another person with this number,
Right.
And so I start a really adventure with me, because you must know that in the end, somebody from the, how do you call it? You have the FBI. We have also in German the FBI. I go there to the director, and I ask him, "Hey, can you help me?" And then he said, "Yes, of course, I help you with his digital. We call it digital forensic team. There are specialists. They can look on the with computers and everything, and they can look on the old film scenes, and they can make it real. How was the real number of her,
Wow.
I told you, the speaker says in the propaganda film 69,
Uh-huh.
it was not 69, it was 61929, And then when we find out that, our historian Artyom find the right way. And I was in the archive in Auschwitz, and the director give me all the papers, So, and we cannot find it. But that was a small moment that he opened a page, and I saw a similar number, and that was.
And it was it.
Yes.
That's
Crazy.
Unbelievable. That's like a meant to be type thing.
And then in this moment, normally, I remember when I asked for coming to the archive in Auschwitz, they say, Luigi, your chance is 0, because it's not possible. But you must know there are millions of papers there, millions, and 10% are digitized,
So your job is so much more than just the photography aspect and the art aspect of it.
I can tell you so many other stories. If you like, I can tell you about a story of 2 guys when I show my first exhibition in Berlin. Normally when we set up the exhibition, I decide, okay, I put this guy or woman there, and I put them there, And I don't know why on this day I put two guys together, It was Horst and Walter, And in the opening, and you must know Horst lived in Germany, and Walter lives in Stockholm in Sweden, And he read only one daily newspaper from Germany, So on the opening, press media is coming, and also a photographer from the newspaper who read Walter in Stockholm in Sweden,
paper,
So, and this journalist take a picture of these 2 guys, So on the next day, Walter read the newspaper, and he called me, give me a phone call. Luigi, what you done? And I say, what happened, Walter? What's going on? Luigi, what you done? This is Horst, my old school friend, And after 80 years, they come together.
They hadn't seen each other.
No, because you must know there was 2 family. They live in the same street. They were boys when they played together,
Yeah.
And the tragical is, Alex, Horst's family was completely killed, and Walter's family completely survived,
Wow.
And you can imagine that how traumatized is Horst and how traumatized is Walter.
Sure.
Walter was on the airport. He was flying directly from Stockholm to Germany. Horst called me, Luigi, please say him that he don't come, because that will be kill me. But because all the decades of years, my traumatized, they broke out, So I call, what you can imagine what a trauma it was for me. I was happy that Walter is coming,
But now he's saying he doesn't want him to come,
but not he. You must understand. He was so happy to hear that his old boyfriend, survived, But he cannot. He takes time for that, And Walter was, and you can imagine that was.
He needed to ease back into to that, knowing, hey, I'm not ready to see him yet, but when I'm ready to see him.
Yeah, and the thing is,
he never thought all these years later that the opportunity would even come.
Absolutely, and the thing is, the time was not enough for him, because 2 months later, Horst passed away. And they don't see each other.
Yeah.
But it was okay, because they're here on the phone, they speak.
They did speak.
And that is okay,
Sure.
And that is enough,
Right.
Normally we would like to see a happy end, typical Hollywood, So, but it is not.
It's still beautiful that they were able to find each other after.
They only 1 or 2 phone calls, and that was enough. You are survived. Yes, I'm survived, and that's all.
There's so much guilt with survivors.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. In your experience with your role, how, what's your perspective on what someone like Luigi does with telling the stories that he tells? And, obviously I would say it's always been important to capture the stories of survivors, but there's less and less and less and that are living to tell their stories. So you've, I'm sure, worked with many people to capture stories over the years. What sticks out to you about Luigi's project and how it's, how it's gotten to the point where it's at?
So one of the things that survivors or what victims of the Holocaust said during that time is, if you survive, make sure that you tell our story. Mm-hmm. And we have fewer and fewer firsthand testimonies, right? So what Luigi does, he has captured these individuals and he has provided us an opportunity to put the story with the face and being able to put those portraits out there into the public. And now we're putting it into schools. So for the first time in the United States, we'll put his exhibition in 2 schools, and it's passing this history on to the next generation, the younger generation, yes, allowing them the opportunity to do research on these survivors, and then being able to interact with these portraits in a way that's meaningful to them. So I think now that we don't actually have the humans with us, Luigi capturing that image, it provides us that opportunity to continue to hear their stories, to learn their stories, and to have some sort of a connection, if you will. Mm-hmm. Because we don't want it to be a statistic, right?
Yeah. How much do you worry? I mean, there are obviously, you have the people that say, well, the Holocaust never happened. The Holocaust was never a thing. What do you have to say to those people? But also, what do you worry that these stories will at some point be forgotten?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this generation now, we're pushing 80 years. Mm-hmm. This generation doesn't understand the Holocaust, and we've actually changed the way that we're teaching it. So when we were teaching it in the earlier years, we taught the historical data, right? The historical facts. Now, because we're so far removed, we have to be able to help this generation connect emotionally. So we share the stories more. Firsthand testimony has become really important. And so we're always going to have deniers, mm-hmm, right? But education is the key. We have got to continue educating people. And Missouri now has this mandate that went into effect this school year that all schools need to teach Holocaust education between 6th and 12th grade, once in middle school, once in high school. And so being able to continue to share those stories, that's what we've got to do. We've got to keep talking about it. We've got to find ways that, our generation, your generation, my children's generation can connect with this history, because social media is the biggest problem that we have.
Totally.
That's just horrible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it's so easy to get sucked into, especially, unfortunately there's people that aren't able to get great educations, but it is unfortunate that people see what they see on social media and then they get on this bandwagon, this train. I don't know if it's something that people think is cool, I've heard that term where people now think it's cool to be anti-Semitic, right? And the fact that's even something that is a sentence that comes out of anybody's mouth is crazy, but you do see it in today's world. I think there's a lot of younger generations where I think, especially below I'm a millennial. I guess that's what I would be. But I think that it's troubling that the younger generations sometimes don't know how to decipher what is fact and what is not fact.
We've taken critical thinking out of our schools.
Yes.
And when we can study the Holocaust in this way, it helps bring critical thinking back. Mm-hmm. And I will say another thing that Luigi's work does is we don't read anymore. I once heard a statistic from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum that if it was more than 42 words, the kids weren't reading it.
Yeah.
And so,
which is, it makes sense. It's a real thing.
It's a very real thing. But when Luigi puts his portraits in public spaces, they're seeing it, and then it starts the curiosity and start asking the question.
Yeah.
And why I think Luigi and I work so well together is that we both believe that we don't tell people what to think, but we like to give them things to think about.
Sure.
And that's exactly what his exhibition does. It allows the passerby to go as deep into this history as they want to go into it. And there's a plethora of really sound resources out there, but it's finding the right resources, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why education continues to be key.
I think that's a great point you make, and especially, you know, why people are like, what makes even myself, what makes these pictures so special? And it is going back to what you just said. It's a visual world we're living in. People aren't reading like they used to, and it's not really shoved in your face. It's more here's a photo. Take from it what you will, but learn the story behind it. And it goes so much deeper. Like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? But these pictures are worth, you know, infinite amount of words, because there's an unbelievable story that goes behind each and every one of these. So the exhibit, talk about the exhibit. So it's here in St. Louis. And what are the dates?
We open on April 16th through May 3rd. It's at the District in Chesterfield.
Yep.
And that in and of itself is unique, because I think oftentimes when we talk about a Holocaust survivor, we identify them just with the cataclysmic event that happened to them. But putting it at a space like the District, where we have concerts, we have sporting events up on the big screen, we have adults gathering for dinner and beverages, it helps us understand that these individuals were humans just like us. They lived lives just like we did. They enjoy the same things that we are doing at the District. This cataclysmic event happened to them, but it's also about their resilience, right? They have gone on to marry, to become successful business people, to live very rich lives.
Sure.
So it's a different narrative that we're trying to bring with this exhibition, and reaching a population of people who may not know about the Holocaust.
Sure.
So
I think it's great. I think it's and again, I'm glad that we talked about some of the things that you've learned with the survivors that bring joy to them, and stories. You have stories that you're able to laugh at after hearing conversations with different people. But I do think that is a unique aspect of the exhibit that you kind of mentioned, was these were normal people. So obviously it's a very serious exhibit, and it's a very serious thing that people can come out and look at, but also it's humanizing it and making it so that people realize we don't have to be sad every time. Yes, it's okay to be sad, but we don't have to be sad every time we think about these people, because these survivors are normal people. Like they are normal people, integrated in and had been in the community for years. And like you said, went on to live normal lives. And for anybody to think, well, these people's lives may have been defined in a way as being a survivor, it's not letting that define them 100%, where they didn't get to have any other joys of life or anything like that. And I think that is cool, bringing it to a complex like the District.
I will never forget that pain that they endured, but I will take it one step further and say, yes, it happened to the Jews during the Holocaust, but as long as there's one population of people that is deemed lesser than, we are all at risk.
Yeah, 100%.
And Oscar Jacob is a Holocaust survivor featured in Luigi's exhibition, and he just said to me in a testimony for this exhibition, we thought this could never happen. So, and it did. So nothing is impossible.
Yeah. I think what you've done is amazing. Being able to tell a story the way that you tell it is incredibly unique. And I think deeper than the average way that you would hear the story. So, obviously, from the Jewish perspective and the Jewish population, thank you for obviously keeping people aware of what happened, but also just sharing those stories for everyday people. Is there anything else that you can think of that maybe we didn't cover that you want to leave people with, or something that has gotten you to where you're at today? Would you have ever years ago thought that this is something you'd invest so much time into and be where you're at right now?
I have only 2 or 3 words. We must be careful, we must be careful, and we must be, I don't know how do you say in English, but I would like to repeat my word, what Susan told me. She said, if we forget the past, we are damned to repeat it, so that is so necessary because, yeah.
Do you have worries about the world as it is right now in regards to?
I'm optimistic, and I think that our democracy will win, and that is what when I stand up every morning, I saw in the mirror and I said, today our democracy will win, that is what I hope for us.
Yeah. Well, I think both of you genuinely show that there's good people, because we always like to chat with good people on this show, but we always, I think, goes a step further in showing like these are your stories are ones that we also want to share, because people like you guys are doing things to make the community better for the Jewish community for sure, but for everybody as a whole. And I think that that's rare to come by these days, but I like to also think that the good will outweigh the evil and we'll all end up on top and everybody will get along. And those are the stories that we'll be sharing one day. So, but we appreciate both of you sitting down and chatting with us. And again, the Lest We Forget, April 16th through May 3rd at the district. Is there a website people can go learn more about you and more about Lest We Forget?
There is. If you go to conversationbuildscharacter.org, okay, we have a landing page for Lest We Forget, the large exhibition, as well as the school, the educational initiative.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. Luigi, real quick, a name like Luigi, you got to know good food. Have you eaten good places in St. Louis? I got to finish when I get a little.
I remember when I was here the first time, Dee Dee bring me to a really good Italian restaurant
on the hill.
Yeah, and I love it. It was Catino, or what is the name? Giattino? I don't
what is Charlie Gito's?
Charlie Gito's.
I love this place, and you know what? I have with me my brother-in-law, and he's the first time in America.
This is it, and he's St. Louis is the first.
Yeah, and I will bring him to this Italian quarter there because he love. It is so beautiful there. I remember that when I was the first time here in St. Louis. So maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow I will go there and I will show them what.
You don't have very many free nights, so you better choose.
I was gonna say Luigi's probably like back to back. Well, we hope you enjoy it. Has he had emos? Has he had St. Louis style pizza yet?
I don't think so. I don't know that would be his.
It wouldn't be his jam.
I don't think so.
Are you like a thick crust pizza guy? Yeah, this isn't that for you. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you do. And we're looking forward to seeing all the beautiful stories that you're telling with Lest We Forget. So,
thank you.
Thank you. And welcome to St. Louis again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.